Hello and welcome to the Our Giant Leap podcast, presented by the Space Generation Advisory Council. Our Giant Leap discusses diversity, equity, and inclusion topics within the global aerospace industry. My name is Tanya.
And my name is Judith, and we are your hosts for today's podcast.
The goal is to bring light to a person's career in aerospace. We will be coming up with tangible outcomes and solutions as takeaways from this episode. Most of us have at some point looked up at the night sky with curiosity and perhaps even dreamed of becoming an astronaut. Space has long inspired questions about possibility, exploration, and our place in the universe. Today's episode, we gain a perspective from someone who has actually lived that experience, Dr. Soyeon Yi. In today's conversation, we'll discuss her path into aerospace, her experiences aboard the International Space Station, and how viewing Earth from space has shaped her perspective on science, leadership, and global responsibility.
Hello and welcome, Dr. Soyeon Yi. It is our pleasure to have you on this podcast. Can you first begin by introducing yourself?
Okay, hello everyone. So nice to meet you. I'm Soyeon Yi. I'm the first Korean astronaut. Yeah, I flew to the International Space Station. It's already 18 years ago, 2008 April. So nice to meet you.
So, how did you first get interested into aerospace?
Frankly speaking, until even I applied for an astronaut program, I was not that kind of big, huge fan of the aerospace. I was more like a simple mechanical engineering student in graduate school. And I thought like some special people might have a dream on the aerospace or try to be a rocket scientist or aerospace engineering. It was not mine, unfortunately. But the application to the astronaut program changed whole my life.
That was a while ago now, but what was your most vivid memory while being in space?
Maybe most of the astronaut might have same answer to this kind of question. Most vivid memory is the when I looked down to the Earth very first time. And of course, we all know how it looks because we had a lot of YouTube channel recorded from the ISS and many of the satellite image. And even we have a Google Earth, you can zoom it out and then you can check it out how the Earth looks. And we grow up with the geographic textbook shows how your country looks like, how your continent looks like, and we all know. But when you look down real thing, not the image, not the drawing, not the fake, it's the real one, that give us quite vivid and impactful emotion to us. And that's really, really interesting. If I explain a little bit more kind of metaphor, so when you first time to do the kind of scientific experiment in your primary school, you know how it happens. So when you put some chemicals on other chemical, or when you kind of look through the microscope kind of thing, and you know how it looks. But when you look at real one, and you always say that, wow, it is really. So that's pretty much a similar experience. Even if we know when you see the real thing, that was incredible.
Yeah, I think it's like the most magical place to be in. So, what did you like the most while being on the ISS?
You know what? It's kind of most exciting thing and most uncomfortable things are same. That's very interesting. But our life is kind of like that. And then you really want to go to some school and you really want to get a job in certain place and you really dreamed about it and you are so exciting to be there. But in the same time, you feel uncomfortable, feel stressful in exactly the same situation. And space is same in ISS. Yeah, being zero gravity is incredible. You can fly like a Peter Pan and you can control your body totally differently. And you don't need any muscle kind of strength or anything. But because of that zero gravity, all your missions and behavior is a little bit uncomfortable because you're accustomed to live on the gravity. So yeah, that is I like most, but sometimes I don't like most also.
You said the most vivid memory you had while being in space was to see Earth from above for the first time. When you observed Earth from space during your mission, how did your view of yourself change? And would you also say your place in the world has changed?
Definitely, definitely. I'm Korean, and most of the Koreans are consciously and unconsciously, we know our countries are quite small. Yeah, of course, there's several countries that are even smaller than ours, but comparing with the other big, huge continent like USA or China, India, Russia, and Australia, Canada, and comparing with that, our country is a small, little, tiny, little country. And I know, but when I go up to there and look down to the earth and space station fly around the earth every 90 minutes and pass by our countries less than a minute, and then I feel how small my country it is from my skin, yeah, with my eyes, and then wow, yeah, my countries are quite small. And I realized that how vast the earth it is. And I realized that even if Korea is a whole world of mine, but whole world was quite small as I looked down to the earth. And that was a very interesting feeling to me. And then view of myself and view of earth is changed. But in same time, I ask myself and then why on earth I was born there, comparing with the old kind of vast continent around the earth, and then how low probability, how extremely low probability to be born there rather than the big huge continent outside of the Korea. And all that kind of questions come to in my mind. And yeah, totally my mindset is changed. Yeah, to be born in that little small country is a huge gift and blessing. Because what if I were born in the opposite side of the earth? And then what if I were born under the different parents? What if I were born just next to the South Korea? And then what if I were born in a North Korea? And even if we believe our lives are formed by our efforts and then our kind of talent or gift or intelligence, everything, but it's not, because most of part of our life was destined once you were born under the certain condition, like who's your parents, what country you are under, and then what kind of policy and regulations and then conditions and environment around you. And that was a huge factor. And some of the country like North Korea or other country, no matter how much effort they made, they cannot change their life at all. And total lazy people in certain countries life is much better than the most extremely diligent peoples in certain countries people. And then yeah, I realize that's such a unfair life we have, but in the same time, even if it's unfair, how blessed and how lucky I am. And then all those kind of mindset is changed, and then I regret a lot, and I feel grateful a lot, and I feel a little bit embarrassed a lot. Kind of same feelings are mixed in my mind. Mhm.
Yeah, that changes a lot. And the overview effect, it's invoked by many astronauts as a shift in the worldview from seeing Earth as a fragile, interconnected home. So, how did your experience in the ISS shape your view on global topics like peace, sustainability, or cooperation?
Yeah, it is still connected with the former answer. I think those feelings are part of the overview effect and where I'm from and how I was born there, what kind of life I had in that kind of country, what should I do, what I cannot do, and then what I should have done, and all that kind of questions are coming around. But especially for the global topic like a peace, sustainability, and cooperation, maybe because of that, a lot of astronauts do our best to share our feeling when we look down to the earth. Because, of course, I really admire and I look up to the people who already care about the peace and sustainability and cooperation, even if they've never been in space. And then that's incredible because I was totally ignorant and then I've never thought about that before look down to the earth from the space. But still, a lot of people, they never think their life is grateful, and they never think, even if it's not fair, but they have much more than others. So very interesting thing is, who got much more, they feel like they lose something, and they feel like they want to have more. They are so kind of obsessed to have more and more and more. And, oh, life is unfair. Somebody has more. But you know what? Comparing with the average and an overall, they always are in a better place. But many of the people who are in need or underprivileged, or they have a hard time, they always feel grateful for something they have already. And that's very interesting observation for me. So yeah, after look down to the earth and having an overview fact, I'm doing my best to thank everything I have and try to remind myself, so you should be grateful for what you have already, because a lot of people cannot have it no matter how much effort they made. But it's not easy. You always forget. You're always craving more. You're always craving better car. You're always craving better house. You're always craving for better diploma and then better job and kind of like that, even if you already have more than enough. And that's really hard. And then sometimes I think that's the natural thing. Always good thing is harder to have. So being grateful also a good thing. It cannot happen in your mind naturally. You should keep pushing yourself. So then you should be grateful for what you have. And then no matter how bad the traffic in the middle when you drive, it means your country has a highway. You have a car to drive. You have a driver's license. And it's not the things given for everybody. But some people really want to drive, but they cannot have. So yeah, that's kind of like my experience kind of totally shaped my life and views and differently than before.
Speaking of willing to have more and also keeping on being grateful for what we already have,
Mhm.
more and more people want to go to space and looking forward towards future civilian space exploration. How do you think citizen science will evolve? Do you envision people without scientific training contributing meaningfully to research in space? And if so, how?
I think it depends, because sometimes some people who doesn't have any scientific background, they found something incredible, and then they provoke some interest and curious from the scientific society. So I think the number one rule is don't limit anyone, because some of the people who criticize some people who want to go to the space just spending incredible money and bragging about it. I don't mind. If they want to do, they can do. And they are generating a lot of scientific job for my friends. So it's a good circulation. And even if they cannot recognize it, they are contributing in the ecosystem in the commercial space industry. So every single people has a different roles and different responsibility, and only the most important thing is how we can translate and how we can use it. So I admire the people who want to go to the space as a tourist, because there's a lot of other place they can waste money and spending money, but they spend money in a space industry. So that's a contribution. And we can get a job, or we can get an internship opportunity, and then we have a lot of budget to build the rocket, and then we have another opportunity to do something else in space. So it's a kind of cooperation and collaboration. Of course, sometimes we don't like some people, and we love some people, and then kind of thing. But that always happen in any place, any field. So I don't want to make them as my enemy. I want to make them as my colleagues and then collaborator and work together. And of course, when they feel uncomfortable, or when they give us any feedback, and we can think about how we can improve that kind of things as a scientific mind, as the expert in the scientific industry. So yeah, we don't have to criticize each other, and we don't have to hate each other. It's the part of our overview effect. and whoever, whatever people, and we always find something good to work together. So that would be the most important thing, I believe.
Continuing ahead within the same aspects, I know commercialization within the space industry is increasing, and the number of people that are going to space is also increasing at the same time. So, from your experience, how do you think the ideal astronaut profile evolved since your selection, particularly in terms of the skills or interdisciplinary background and the growing importance of non technical skills such as adaptability, cross cultural collaboration, and also public engagement?
You know what? I think that is pretty much the same as the commercial airplane comes up, because when we only have an airplane only for the military, we didn't have any problem when the people ride on the airplane, either the pilot or the passenger or the soldiers and kind of like that, because they have their own rules and they have their own culture. But once the commercial airlines are booming up and everybody travel around the world, and then in exactly same airplane, you have all the diverse people just sitting in together, then those airplanes environments is really, really dangerous and also at risk above the air. So we have a little bit more tight regulation than the bus or train or ship. And sometimes a ship over the ocean is really strict policy also, because they are in the very dangerous environment. So it's a kind of like a same. When we have more people to go to the space, it means more diverse people and different cultural peoples sitting inside of the rocket or a spaceship together like a commercial airline. And we needed to think about what kind of regulation we can help each other. And then who is the pilot, who is the passenger, who is the crews, and who is the person who ride on the spaceship as a business trip, who is the person ride on the spaceship as a tourist. It's exactly like a commercial airplane. So I think that would be the really good example how to help each other. Because yeah, let's say you are on the airplane to go to the PG. Then Americans, Europeans, and Asians, we all ride on. And some scientists ride on the airplane to go to the PG for their experiment or clinical research. Or some people go there for their vacation. Everybody has a different purpose. It means everybody has a different attitude. And everybody has a different demands inside of the airplane. And somebody sit on the first class, somebody sit on the business class, and somebody sit on the economy. And some people's riding on the airplane is the part of their job, like a crew. And some pilots is their job to driving the airplane. It's exactly same, I think. So we have a good example how to handle it. Its only difference is spaceship is a little bit more risky and dangerous, but I think pretty much the same. Yeah. And destination is different. So we can learn from the past.
Great, thanks. We're going to move to the second part of the episode, and we want to focus more on your post astronaut career and your outreach activities. You hold an MBA with a focus on technology and global leadership from the University of California, Berkeley, that you got in 2014. What motivated you to pursue an MBA after an engineering career?
Oh, that's a great question. After my space flight, I had a really, really hard time to navigate my career. It's a little bit different from the Russian, Chinese, Japanese, or European and American astronaut, because they are having a continuous human space flight program. So even if after their first flight, they can prepare for their second flight or some ground support or com call. Yeah, and then all different kinds of things they can contribute after their flight. But Korean case is a little bit different because we only have a one-time project, and after my space flight, nobody knows who or how and when we will have another astronaut or same astronaut will fly again, kind of like that. It's very uncertain. But thank God, after my flight, 2-3 years, the speaking engagement and outreach and kind of part of the spokesperson of the Korean Space Agency made me really be really busy. But I realized that how long I can do this, because my background is professional engineering, but that kind of speaking engagement job is not the job I expect on the way to come to the career. So think a lot of things, and then what should I do? And then I realized that it's way too late to come back to my original research place, because many of my colleagues, they are building their research portfolio for 3-4 years, and a lot of research articles published, a lot of projects they've done. But I had a total blank under my professional career. Take care of my astronaut job. Of course, it's incredible to be an astronaut, but in the same time, as a professional person in your own field, you feel like you are missed, and you feel like you are way behind than other people. So that made me a huge kind of homework to think about my future. So I even researched about every single first astronaut in from the several countries who doesn't have an astronaut after that, and what kind of career they have. And then I realized that every single people has a different career they have. There's no common each other, depending on their family background, depending on their kind of past career before being an astronaut, depending on their country's policy, depending on their country's major industry or kind of like that. So, oh my God, every single first astronaut from their own country has a totally different pathway of their career. So it doesn't help me at all after researching for such a time. And I realized that I should find my own career. And even considering to be the policymaker in a science and technology policy in Korea, or sometimes I'm thinking about maybe I can be some kind of administration people or government worker, or maybe I can be a philanthropist or something kind of like that. And there's a lot of different kinds of paths I'm thinking. But I realized that many of my colleagues, especially scientists and engineers, are having a hard time to secure their fund and to kick out their project. It's always kind of relate with the financial thing. And money is the major kind of driver for any kinds of project. Even if it's not a scientific project, always money is the obstacles and money is the driver kind of thing. But I was a mere, very ignorant engineers who've never thought about the money part. So I thought like maybe I should learn about how the business is going, and then why and how some certain scientific project get funded while some others not, even if we cannot understand the behind the scene. So that lead me to study MBA. But of course it's hard because I've been spending my almost 20 years in science and engineering. But when I went to the MBA, 99% of the students are from the business part and investment part and banking part, and we don't have any common at all. I can understand their thinking process, and sometimes we cannot communicate each other. But it was a really good learning curve. And I cannot say I'm a good business people because I only spent 2 years comparing with the other classmate who spent more than 10 years in a business field. But since then, I can a little bit more closer to the business world, and then I can understand why they act like that. And sometimes some engineers and scientists hate the business people, but now I can understand why they act like that, because it's same. If you don't know, it's easy to hate them. But if we try to understand how they act like that, why they behave like that, and then you can work together. I think it's pretty much the same as the racial separation or demographic separation is kind of like same. Some people's only because they don't know the things very well, they just start hating, but it's not the right way. So cross cultural, cross kind of industrial, cross ethnics, and all the same. And we should learn each other, and we should understand why they doing, and then we can work together to complement each other. Because I know technical things or scientific things a little bit more than the other me or business people, and then we can work together, and I can translate some scientific things to the business people and then let them work together. So yeah, that is the driving force to decide to pursue my MBA. It's a little bit different from the other MBA student.
So amidst the difficulties, I think you managed to, carve your own path. And so, what advice do you think would you give to women or people from underrepresented backgrounds that are willing to pursue a STEM career? And what steps would you want them to follow?
I always have an answer. The stupid answer to this exactly same question is, forget you are the woman, forget you are the underrepresented background have, because sometimes if you stick to over there, if you're obsessed with that, and that stop you before other people stop you, and you just kind of isolated in that kind of mindset, nothing help you. So just forget. Because sometimes some people said, maybe they discriminate me because I'm a woman. And then maybe they discriminate me because I'm from the underrepresented background. No. If you think that thing first, that will fail you. No matter how bad discrimination happened, no matter how bad a treatment it happened, you should be the person who believe you can do it. So just forget it. But in the same time, you should remember who you are. Yeah, you are the woman. You are from the underrepresented background. It means you have very, very creative mindset the older people cannot think of. So, for example, and then a lot of the non-woman people who've never thought about it, but we can think about something really brilliant because whole our life is we live as a woman. And different culture also. Some dominant cultures are always doing the things the same way again and again and again, but you can think out of box idea, bring up, and help them, even if they don't listen to you at the very first time. Sometimes you are totally ignored, but you can bring the very innovative idea because you have a different culture, different background, and different idea. So forget about some minority thing, but remember, don't forget about the things you have. It's very important to find the balance between two. So, but best way is when you think about being a woman, try to forget it. But when you cannot think about being a woman, bring up and remember you are a woman. And then I know it's a stupid and hard and ironical, but that might be the best way, I think.
What advice would you give to young people or those new to space careers, especially in places where opportunities in this field are limited?
You know what? Because the opportunities are limited, you want to do it. If the opportunity is abundant and everybody can do it, you never want it. Because no one celebrate huge after the graduate from the primary school, because everybody go to primary school. So you should remember that why you want to come here, because it's a scarcity and rarity and specials and opportunities are limited. That's the reason you feel attractive to that kind of opportunity. So it's very interesting sometimes as an observer from the third person point of view is, yeah, I really want to do it, but opportunities are limited. You know what? Only because opportunities are limited, you want to do it. If that opportunity is not limited, you never feel attractive to that. So we should remember that. And then when I had a really, really hard time to finish my PhD and I complained about it, oh my God, it's so tough. It's so hard. And I don't know if I can finish it, kind of like that. And then one of my mentor came to me and then told me like, so you know what, if everybody can get the PhD very easily, do you really think you want to have it? And then I don't think so. That's why it's tough. Only several people who can get through this tough situation, they got honor from that kind of place. So you should remember, you started because it's not easy. You started because it's limited. You started because it's tough, but you are the only person who can get through. If everybody can get through easily, you don't want it. I definitely bet it. So That's the one thing you should remember. Of course, any place, any industry, newcomers feel hard because they don't have expertise, they don't have experience, they don't have enough knowledge, they don't have enough know-how. Always hard. Anytime, any place. I think that's the kind of theory number one in the world. Yeah, always. Of course, yeah, you know what? Some genius people and some talented people, you believe they feel easy. No, anyone, no matter how genius they are, when they started something they've never done before, they feel hard time. So we should take it as a thing we should get through. So that's the normal thing. Yeah. And you should believe that I'm not alone. I'm not the only person who having a hard time when you started a new career. Everybody doing that. But why other people's act like that? Because they just pretend they okay. Because they want to be kind of cool people. So no matter good smile they have, no matter how good face expression they have, no matter how good advice they have, it doesn't matter. They are having a hard time. Everybody having a hard time right now because everybody has their dream, everybody has their goal to make, and either rich people or not, either young people or old, and then every single people has their own homework and hard time and their own stress and their own have problems. So everybody having a hard time. But some people translate it as a good thing to experience. Some people's translate that kind of hard time as their learning curve, and some people is just complaining without doing anything. So it depends on your attitude. You can have a different result, but it's clear. Yeah, when you start new thing, it's hard.
You participated as a mentor at the Our Giant Leap Hackathon in South Korea in 2022. And the topic we had was how can space technology and know how help make a leap forward towards the gender equality on Earth? What was your biggest takeaway from Our Giant Leap Hackathon?
The biggest takeaway is, oh, we can use the space technology for any kinds of topic and any kinds of problem. Because sometimes, for me, even harder to connect it with the space technology to the gender issue kind of thing, but it helps. And many of the participants bring the really brilliant idea and then very creative ideas to pitch. Of course, if some ideas needed some feedbacks or needed some kind of revisions, kind of like that. But anyway, everyone tried to bring the very interesting idea to make it happen. So biggest takeaway is good to work with a lot of people who want to take advantage of the space technology for our universal global issue. And I feel more confident. Yeah, space technology can do anything around the world. And that was also interesting part. And I love taking kind of any kind of positions or any kind of role in a hackathon, any kinds of hackathon, because it inspires me a lot. So even if participants told me I inspire them, but in the same time, they inspire me. So all the judges and mentors, they might feel exactly the same as I feel. And then they stimulate us to, oh, wow, the younger people is a fresh mind, and then they can think about that thing. Even if we came as a judge or a mentor, and we learn a lot from there. So yeah, that was really fun experience to me.
Looking back to your journey, are there any barriers you wish had been easier to overcome? And what changes would you like to see for the next generation of astronauts?
Of course, I thought there were a lot of barriers, but I don't wish to has been easier to overcome, because through that barriers to overcome, I learned a lot. Without those barriers, I cannot improve myself at all. I cannot learn anything at all, because anything easy thing, you cannot learn out of it. And it's not fun at all after even you accomplished it, right? Yeah. So, but of course, at that time, 20 years ago or 10 years ago. I wish I could overcome easier, but I cannot. But that's the very natural thing, and I cannot complain it. So every single astronaut always either many or less or different kinds of barrier they have, depends on what kind of characteristic they have, depends on what kind of country they are from. But barriers we must have to overcome, and that's the best chance to learn something. That's the best chance to improve and develop ourselves. So I don't think it will not change. No matter how good AI comes, no matter how good automation, no matter how good robot came, if robot goes to Mars, it doesn't mean I will go to the Mars. Even the robot name is Soyeon, it's not me. And I cannot have any excitement when the robot Soyeon do it because it's not my own thing. So all the technology changes and all the things that changes, we all human has a hard time and barriers to overcome when we want to do something. And then when we develop ourselves, when we improve ourselves, when we keen our talent. So I think it's pretty much same and universal thing, I guess.
Right. So, are there any current projects that you're excited to work on?
Oh yeah, actually nowadays I'm working with several space companies as a consultant and advice, and it's really exciting to see the whole space industry and ecosystems that changes every day. Of course, sometimes we feel a little bit worried and concerned because there's a lot of uncertainty. But when we have a lot of uncertainty, that's the great opportunity to think about innovative ideas and creative ideas in the same time. So that was interesting part. And another current interesting project is it's not the paid job, it's more like hobbies and then volunteers kind of like that. And with one of the ISU students and with one of ISU faculty, and then we are working on the when we really go to the Mars, what kind of task should be done by the robot, what kind of task should be done by AI, and then what kind of task should be done by real human. And then we trying to the categorize and then analysis every single task based on the NASA several years ago, they generate the report about if we will really go to the Mars and then what kind of task we should take every single step. And then there's thousands and thousands of tasks astronauts should take care of that. And before considering the AI and robot. So we reviewed all the tasks and then we categorized it can be done by the robot, it can be done by AI, it can be done by the AI aided by the human, it can be done by the robot aided by the human, and then something done by the human, but we need AI and robot kind of thing. So that was really interesting to imagine what if I will be on the Mars, and then imagine what if I'm on the spaceship to go to the Mars. And then they invited me for this research because they want me to review the task as an astronaut's point of view. So that's very interesting process to think about it. So that's the one of the exciting project I'm working on, and then we are looking forward to present about that project in the coming IAC this year if everything goes well. We cannot be sure yet because we are working on it. We actually aim to present last year's IAC, but some uncertainty thing happened, and then one of the members had a hard time, and it takes a little bit more time we expect, but hopefully we can finish it soon.
And as a wrapping up question, can you share with us a funny story, maybe from work or studies?
You know what? I always have a funny story, any place, any situation, anywhere, because having fun is the most important things and most biggest things to encourage us and motivate us. So that was a little bit different from the other astronauts. But even among the astronauts, we have some of the astronauts who always having fun in how tough task we have. And some astronauts, they cannot help being serious always, but it is a kind of characteristic. But I'm kind of like a fun person, so I always try to find the funny part. yeah, even in the middle of the mountain survival training in Russia, it's the most toughest training, but still we having fun, and I still making joke around and then make a laugh out of my colleagues. And then so I don't have any specific funny story, but what I want to tell you is every single moment I'm trying to find a funny part and then make other people laugh and make fun of something is the driving force me to keep doing thing and then give me the more energy. Yeah, even in the middle of the final exam in college, I always try to find a fun thing and then joking around with my friends. In the middle of the sea survival training, I feel like I'm almost dead, but still smiling and then talk about the joke and then having fun with my colleagues. And so that's part of my life. And then I'm so grateful for my husband because he always tried to start joke right after opening our eyes in the morning. So right after getting out of the bed, and he just start joking, and that made us smile and make whole our days start from the laughing. That was really really beautiful. I feel so grateful for having my partners same mindset, same philosophy, and then making other people's laugh is the very precious and a wonderful thing. So that's good.
Thank you so much, Dr. Soyeon Yi, for your time and for sharing your experiences, thoughts, and insight on such crucial topics. You can interact directly with us on the Diversity and Gender Equality Project Group's social media and leave feedback or advice from your side. This initiative is part of the Space Generation Advisory Council. Do check out the website spacegeneration.org. Also, let us know who you'd like us to interview next on the podcast. Thank you all for listening. We are your hosts, Tanya and Judith, signing off.